Okay, this morning on Blue Taste Best, we're going to be discussing my idea for a group book, a globally oriented book about what knitting means to knitters all over the world. And Susan called right on time. I had trouble getting the video started. So, Susan, I'm going to put you on speakerphone so that we can chat and everybody can hear us. Okay, just a second. I have to figure, you know how tech savvy I am. So let's see if I can figure out how to get you on speakerphone. Okay, I think you're there.
I think you're a little bit better than I am,
Okay,
tech-wise.
you got it. You got it. Okay.
Okay. Good morning.
Good morning. So you got all your stuff done with the family?
Oh my gosh, just barely. I just warned everybody, do not burst through my door, do not interrupt me. But luckily you can edit, so.
Yeah, well, although I'm probably not going to because I'm lazy. I locked my dog and my husband in another room, so we'll see how long they can stay put. All right,
That's
so
gonna be good. Okay.
the idea for this book is for all of you to submit why you knit, what it means to you. And I don't want to lead anybody in any way about what to say, but I have a feeling I know where this is going to come down. And then when I compile everything, it will be available as a free download, so everybody can access it. Now, what I wanted to say is if anyone wishes to remain anonymous, that's fine. I won't edit content. I'll just edit spelling and grammar. And then you as the submitter will get to see the final copy and approve it before it's done.
Okay. Well, that's fine. And I have no problem with someone editing even for content of my work when you're presenting it in a way that you need to, I am an editor, freelance writer, and that's a lot to give up, but I understand both sides of the fence.
Right, except that I'm not going to be authoring this book. Everybody else is. I'm not publishing this for, it's a nonprofit thing, just because I think it's a fun idea. So I don't want to change anybody's wording. When I see all the submissions and I have a feeling that I know the way it's going to come down, then I'll organize them, funny ones or whatever. So
I think you have some really great questions. And the thing that I really liked about what you're doing and the questions you you asked, is that we go through this every day, every hour, just knitting. And for me, rarely do I just stop and think about what it is I'm doing and why, or more importantly, why I'm doing it. You're making me think about some things, and that's really a good thing.
Right. Well, that's part of it for me, is that it is mindless, and sometimes we want to empty our minds. Our minds are so full of everyday stuff all the time that it's nice to do something and let our mind be quiet. And that's what knitting does for me, which I don't want to put words in anybody else's mouth. But do you have any questions about the book?
Well, I'm looking at the questions, and there were two that I'm going to have to work hard to keep a separation, and that was your request for a knitting and actually, I say that anecdote.
Yeah, if you have any stories, yeah.
But I did come up with two separate ideas, to answer those questions, and there's enough of a separation that they don't necessarily fall into each other's space.
Right. And you don't have, if you don't have one, or if you don't have to answer. Those were just some suggestions because people are saying, well, what do I write?
Right. What do you mean by stash commentary?
Like some people, I heard a story. I don't know if you got to listen to the Webb's interview with Kathy Elkins.
Not yet. I've saved it, but I haven't listened yet.
Well, she talks about a friend who stashed all her extra yarn in an extra bathtub, and it got so high that she had to install shower doors because it was falling out the curtains. So I love that visual. I love that idea. And I thought maybe other people have stash stories too, they hide it under the bed, or how they bring it in so that hubby doesn't see, or or stash aspirations, or how people, I know people put their stash on Ravelry, and thinking, how would I even go about that? I have so much yarn. How would I even go about taking pictures of all of it and putting it on Ravelry? So I wouldn't even.
I think that I have one for you, and this is just because of recent experience, which I shared in our group, and that is the fact that I had a difficult time hand winding fingering weight yarn for the first time. So I will be investing in a Swift and a ball winder in about a week or so. This weekend I went down to my yarn shop, and they allowed me to wind the one ball that one skein of yarn that I did not mess up, and it was so much fun. I loved the little cake that came out.
Oh, I know.
And
I don't have room for a Swift. I live in a small apartment and I don't have room
yeah,
for a Swift. My husband's arms are outstretched or a back of a chair if he's not available. And I had a ball winder that I actually gave away because it's just as much work. I mean, I've got to wind anyway, the little handle
yeah.
or around my hand. So I just wind it in balls whenever he's
Well, I mean, I can do
available.
that too, but it went so quickly, and I sounded just like that darn fish from Nemo. Just keep winding, just keep.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I thought it was going to tangle, if it can go wrong, it will. But I bring that up because I have a funny feeling that my stash is going to greatly increase just by the fact it's so much fun winding it. I can just see my corner of my room or a closet stacked up with little cakes of yarn. I hope not.
I dream of taking my living room and putting floor to ceiling shelves on all four walls and just having everything where I
Yeah.
can stare at it. That will never happen. I have everything in a storage closet, but
Yeah.
it's in hefty bags, and each bag
Oh, wow.
represents a color. But it works for me. I know where everything is.
Yeah.
People who say they buy yarn because they have a project in mind, so they buy the
Yeah.
yarn just for that project and that's all they do. It's like I don't get that. I can't live long enough to knit all I want to knit, let alone all the yarn I have to knit with.
I know.
But I have messed up skeins trying to wind them, and my husband loves to untangle yarn. I mean, the bigger the mess, the happier he is. I'll go to bed at night and I wake up in the morning and it's in a nice ball. So it's like
You know what?
Christmas
It's
house.
very comforting.
Oh,
It's really weird, the things I have patience for.
yeah.
I have patience for little children, not grown adults. I have patience for sitting there and working through a ball of tangled yarn. I have no idea where I get that from.
Andrew loves it too. It's like he says it's like popping bubbles on bubble wrap for him.
Yeah.
Like getting a little. He says that when a foot lets itself go, he feels real good. He just feels a real sense of accomplishment. So go for it.
I know.
I
And
will.
another thing, as a knitter, of course, we can do it in a group with other people, very sociably, or we can do it by ourselves. I find that my hobbies, the things I like to do, lend themselves to me being solitary.
That's because you
Reading,
spend so much time with other people.
yeah, putting together 5,000 pieces of puzzles, and knitting. I can do that too. So I can understand how I can be comfortable unwinding a tangled mess.
Oh, if he's not around and I'm in the middle of a project, I have been known to. This is really terrible, but break it off and just throw away the knot. He'll pull it out of the garbage and untangle it. But not expensive yarn. But I don't use expensive yarn all that much anyway.
Yeah.
But
Well, I'm really interested in seeing what your book is about and how. I know you're putting it together now. You're starting to. You don't want to drag it out. When do you think it's going to come out, and will it be paired with anything else like patterns, or is it just going to stand alone?
no, I think this one, and it's it's Morpheus. Is that the word I want? It's amorphous.
Okay.
It's a cloud now that's coming together, and I wasn't going to start it. I've got a big presentation a week from today at a Westchester Knitting Guild, and I have to work on the PowerPoint and practice that. That's going to be a big thing. After that, and after Revelenix, then my time is free for a couple months, and I'll be able to really spend time in the book. But the ideas are coming now, so I've learned that when they come to me, get them down. This is my idea: submissions from knitters from all over the world, and just a page of what some of those topics that I put on the form from everywhere, not just our group, but that's why I'm saying pass that form around to everybody you know who knits. Take it down to your yarn shop. And I'll compile it so that we can see what knitting is accomplishing worldwide, what it means as a community worldwide. And then what I thought I would do is just offer it as a free download for everybody, and maybe even have Ravelry make it available to all new Ravelry members or whatever, just because I think it's a fun idea. You know how groups put together local recipe books or whatever, just the community of it. I just like the idea of it. And so no patterns in this one. It's not, no monies, no patterns, no nothing. If someone wants to submit a picture of their stash or of themselves tangled up in yarn or knitting in their favorite spot or whatever they want to do, just please be sure you have copyright permission.
Oh,
You know,
okay.
if you use
Okay.
somebody
Yeah,
else's
it just
design.
reminds me of something else. I don't know. Am I allowed to mention the designers' names or what they've done?
Sure, you can mention
Yeah.
them in print,
Okay.
but if you use a
Well, you know,
picture or any design element, then you have to get their permission. But I mean, if
okay.
you just
Well,
mention them, that's
we,
okay.
some years ago, I joined what was then a chapter of the Knitting Guild of America, Windy City Knitting Guild here in Chicago. And they were so horribly far north, it was hard to really get to even driving. But one of those businesses, that's where I first, unbeknownst to me, met Franklin Habit.
Right.
And he had this big, humongous scarf that everybody was taking a turn to knit a few rows and tell a little story
Oh,
as they knit.
yeah.
Only recently did I put two and two together when I kind of looked him up, Googled him, and he talked about the, oh my gosh, 1,000 knitters
Right,
or something, and it was him. So I love these kind of stories.
Right.
Everybody has a story or something of interest, you know.
Right.
Everybody's not going to be that big celebrity that gets their story out. But I think my story that I'm going to share on this forum about my great-grandmother being the only one in my family who knitted, and that story behind how I found that out, I think that's just interesting. If I were listening to somebody else tell it, I would be fascinated with it.
Good,
You know?
yeah, that's what I want,
So,
those anecdotal things. As far as you talking about that scarf that Franklin Habit did, I went to a retreat where she has a retreat every year, and you cast on your project that you promised to be monogamous to for the year, and then you go back.
yeah.
But you have everyone else cast on and do a few stitches so that everybody has their hand in it before the project is done. I love that idea, a group project.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I cannot wait. I'm looking forward to it. And I'm so happy, honored to be a part of this. You know, hopefully, you know, I'll make the final cut. But the big thing for me is that it's making me think.
Right.
You know?
Right.
I think when your first question is why I knit, my first inclination is to say, I don't know. No, I know. It's just I haven't thought about it.
Well, you know, in times past, people knitted because they had to have clothing. They had to have blankets. And I think it's taken on a different, you know, we can run to Walmart and pick up a blanket for $10 or whatever now. So it's not necessarily always a need for clothing or warmth. We might have a different take on it now. And I don't want to put my input into it. I want everybody to say why.
Yeah.
And if we have to think about it, that's good. It's good to think.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm going to go. I don't think anybody else is probably even going to call in. Some people have written and said they had other things going today. I thought today would be a good day because it's a holiday, so I thought people would be home. But if questions come up, anybody, on things you want to know about the submission, about questions, it might be even things I haven't thought of yet, please email me or post them in the group and I'll address them. And then, Susan, get back to your scarf because that's got to get posted for the medals.
I know.
You gotta be.
Thank you.
You gotta be getting close, right?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
You've got to be getting close to the finish line.
I have my 38 inches now, and I'm going to make it a tad bit longer before I put the 4-row garter border on
Okay.
with smaller needles.
Good.
And then it's blocking, drying it, putting my button loops on, and putting my buttons on.
Good.
And
Now,
in another day, I think I should be finished.
what yarn are you using on this one? What is the yarn you're using?
The yarn, I think, let me look. Azalea, it's a Cascade yarn. Give me 1 minute. I just happen to be sitting in front of.
I know it's a variegated blue and pink, but I don't know
it's
the.
a Malabrigo worsted yarn. Azalea is the colorway. I've never satisfied with the pictures I've posted because it has a beautiful pink in it, but it has purples. And
I can
you can't see it. All you see is light and dark.
Right.
So,
Well, I mean, I could tell it's purple, and Malabrigo's great. The reason I was asking is because I wondered how it would block. That will block beautifully. So you're going to gain some length and some width. Just soak it for a good 20 minutes in cool water.
Okay. And you said do not pin it to the blocking board.
I wouldn't. I never pin mine because then you get the little pulls. You know what I mean? Where the pins are, it pulls to a point.
Right.
You'll find that it lays itself out flat. It'll go pretty flat.
I don't have to worry about shrinkage of the width.
No, it's going to stretch. It's going to actually, it's called fulling or blooming. It's actually going to bloom and stretch. You will find that you're going to get a greater size out of it than you have on your needles now. Are you a tight knitter or a loose knitter? Are you tight or loose when you knit?
I'm a type, but as I go on and get used to the needles
It
and
gets
the
looser,
yarn
yeah.
and the, it tends to loosen up a little bit.
Right.
Not much. I don't have the different gauges that is really noticeable, but
Right.
I'm usually a tight knitter until I get really comfortable.
Well, it'll even up. You'll see that it will.
Yeah,
And when you go to do the button loops, I archived that video. So, but I think it's up on
Okay.
YouTube. But if you need it, let me know and I'll get it back out for you.
Oh, okay. I'll
All right.
definitely need it. I
Okay.
definitely will need it.
Okay, very good. Thanks for calling, Susan.
Well, thank you for having me.
Okay.
And I look forward to seeing the broadcast.
Okay, I hope the
Okay.
microphone's working. We never know.
It
All right.
will.
Talk to you later.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, Dad. Have a good day.
You too, Susan. Okay, so we got a little conversation going on the start of this book. You get an idea of what the project is. Again, this is so ephemeral still. The ideas are coming together. If you have some suggestions or some questions, it might be even things I haven't thought of yet, PM me in Ravelry or email me at codebra@aol.com and we'll address them. This is a group project. This is not mine. I'm just putting it together. I also wanted to show you this. This is the Hugs and Kisses scarf I designed for the Ravelenic games, and it's just a nice color work chart. I used Oregon Coast heather and asphalt heather, but I backed it so that I don't have to knit two sides and so that the floats don't show. I backed it with an old sweatshirt, the same color as the sweatshirt I'm wearing, so it dresses up casual clothing as well as being able to be worn for dress. Great idea. It was so much easier than I expected it to be to sew the lining. Just a machine stitch around the edge. Didn't have to fold it under. It doesn't ravel. It makes a nice crisp edge. And that's it. Now, the only thing I have to figure out still for my face is how to get rid of this on camera. I can't sit here. No, it's not about me. All right. I think that's good. We'll print this and see if the mic worked. We'll talk to y'all soon. Bye.